Would you like to make an opening statement?
I would, thank you. My name is Jessica Manuell. I live in Parks, Arizona. I am a mother and a wife, but I'm also a hunter, fisherwoman, a boater, and outdoor recreationalist. I'm seeking a position on the Game and Fish Commission today because I feel very passionately about the wildlife, not just huntable, but all species that the department is tasked with covering and caring for, and the environment of the state of Arizona. I would like the lifestyle that I live to be here and sustained for both my daughter and future generations to come. I grew up with a livestock and agricultural background. It has been part of my career for the majority of my adult life. And so I understand the interface that happens between public and private landowners and understand that those relationships need to be fostered. I'm also a volunteer. I spend my time volunteering as treasurer for the National Wild Turkey Federation chapter in Northern Arizona. I'm also in my third year of chairing the Arizona Mule Deer Organization chapter. The majority of those funds go back towards conservation directly and to youth programs. I'm also a hunter educator for the state of Arizona, and so I spend a lot of my time making sure that I understand current policies and procedures, laws and regulations, because I educate the public on those. And I feel that that is important to maintain knowledge of that to help our future generations understand how they can recreate in this state. My master's program was self-funded, so I have experience with writing grants and seeking funds. I feel that as the department is run like a business and would like to maintain generating those funds in that way, that I could lend a hand in helping source funds or being creative in ways that they generate funds to be self-sustaining. I also feel that as our population continues to increase in the demographics in the state of Oregon and the country change, that a face on the commission that our ever-increasing demographic can feel comfortable with and familiar with, being a woman and a younger generation, is also important. And I would gladly entertain any questions that you have and appreciate your consideration today. Thank you.
I'll start off. A major key to having an effective 5-member commission is every member attend and participate in every meeting. Given your current occupation and other obligations, are you able to fulfill this tremendous commitment of time to serve as commission?
Yes, I am. I have the full support of both my family and my current boss for this position.
You're familiar that there's 9 meetings?
Yes.
And 2 workshops, and that's just the minimum.
Yes.
And then, well, like wild turkey, you're familiar with that.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a lot of commitment to this job.
Mm-hmm.
Sue?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for being here, Jessica.
Yes.
We appreciate your candidacy. Thank you.
Yes.
As a Game and Fish Commissioner, we are obligated to deal with many agencies.
Mm-hmm.
That's federal agencies, state agencies, even private groups, and then do what we can to forward the mandate of the Game and Fish Department. Now, we're just the board that recommends to the governor, but I'm a former commissioner, so that's why I'm saying this. Those requirements inspire us, shall we say, to deal as constructively as possible with those multiple interests and agencies, but all for the benefit of Arizona wildlife and for access for the public to lands to recreate. One of the problems that we often face is that at least the giant majority of the southern counties and hunt areas of this state border Mexico, and we have signs that say caution illegal activities, drug smuggling, and armed persons may be encountered in this area. And that reality causes many families that I know to feel very reluctant to use those lands. And that's one of the problems. One of the other problems is that various federal designations like wilderness also restrict the amount of area available to just general families. Most families with little kids aren't headed to a wilderness. It's just not. Or older people, or persons with any kind of physical challenges. They want access to the Forest Service or other lands without complications. And the result is the restriction of areas that meet those criteria by designating wildernesses and study areas and whatever else that limit access both for management of wildlife, management of the land, the habitat for wildlife, and for much of the public are, and the other problems like that sign I mentioned, are causing people to decide that they just can't recreate. What is your view of those issues?
I think it's a balance. One of the things that I stress as a hunter educator to new families that join one of the things that I stress to new families that I see in all of the classes that I teach for hunter education and also at youth camps is that if you are able to access those wilderness areas, that those are untapped resources by a lot of people, if you have the ability to get there, that you can find success if you choose to just go somewhere other than where you can park your truck. I think and believe that those wilderness areas are important because they do leave some ground untouched. They do leave space available for resources and wildlife to thrive. They do provide areas for study. I understand that there is a struggle for a lot of people and families with kids, people with disabilities, those with a champ tag that cannot access those areas. This is where I believe that not only education in the class of hunter ed, but education of the public in general is valuable so that people know where they can go. But not only those that hold licenses, but those that recreate with UTVs or campers or tents or things like that need to understand the implications of heavy use on our easy to access land and use in those wildlife areas, or wilderness areas, pardon me. With regards to the border, I am a strong supporter of border security. I have hunted on land south of Interstate 8. I have seen some things that make a person very uneasy. And so I'm a strong proponent for making sure that our border is secure and in whatever manner necessary, if I will be honest with you. But I also feel that I have taken the time to learn to be on that land, to be safe for my family. I've also met with or sought out people who have their BLM permits on that land that utilize it for their cattle so that someone is familiar with me being in the area. So I think that those relationships between the department, between the public and those private landowners is also important to help combat these struggles that come along with our border interface.
Thank you very much.
Well, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being a hunter safety instructor. That's a very important job. Appreciate that. First, and I assume you do, but do you have a current hunting and or fishing license?
I do.
Okay. Can you name one or two ideas or innovations that you would like to bring to the Game and Fish Department should you be appointed commissioner?
I've gotten a lot of heat for this one in some circles that I've brought up with, but I was very pleased when harvest reporting for deer was brought up, and I've been very pleased that it was brought up for the coming spring bear hunt. I've hunted in several western states, including Alaska, and harvest reporting is mandatory, and they hound you about it. With one wildlife manager per unit, and especially in larger units or hard to navigate units or units that do not have a lot of roads, it's very difficult for one person, or even two if you include Forest Service or three, a BLM agent, to oversee what's happening in those units. I would strongly like to see mandatory harvest reporting for more species, more hunt cycles to happen, so that our biologists and wildlife managers have a better idea of the number of animals that are in an area. And it also helps with understanding what kind of stress the resources are being put on as people enter those areas. And with more people hunting every year, I think that it's important that we use the public and what the public sees to the advantage of the department. That would be the biggest idea that I would bring.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jessica, I want to start by thanking you for your volunteer service in teaching higher ed and serving on conservation organizations. If you would, please describe the funding sources for the Arizona Game and Fish Department. And also, do you have any thoughts for additional revenue sources that the department might explore?
Understood. I know there is the R3 program that funds shooting ranges and educational opportunities, lottery funds, general funds that go to the department, licensing and tags that fund the department. Also grants that are sought by the commission, donations. Not everyone wants to hunt, but not everyone can hunt. And I think as things get more expensive, at some point we will need to see an increase in those license and tag fees and application fees to help with that. I know the commission and the department has gotten flack for some special issue tags lately, but I've contributed because why not? I think making people understand the importance of it's not just hunting, but it's maintaining a resource so that they understand if there is an increase in that. I would like to not have to go to the legislature for funds. I think the department should maintain its ability to stay self-funded. It would be sad if we sought funds from a larger government entity so that it could be taken away at will. I think that that's a bad idea. As someone who's written grants before, I think it is a time commitment, but more grants could possibly be written for that. But more opportunities for special or limited tags could happen, or more options as well.
Good morning, Jessica. Like everybody else, thank you for your time you put into the hunter safety program. That's really important with the recruitment of youth that get out in the field safely. My question for you, one of the 7 principles of the North American model of wildlife conservation is that wildlife resources are conserved and held in trust for all citizens. How do you see that belief integrating with the ongoing role of the Arizona Game and Fish Commission and the department.
Again, I will say that as a hunter, I understand the importance of maintaining the wildlife and conservation of resources for the future. What I would like to see happen and would be that the department take a bigger role in educating not only license and tag holders, but the general public in the importance of the wildlife and the resources and the importance that they play in maintaining those big public open wild spaces for people to enjoy. There are no fees for someone to take their RV into the woods and the majority of space here for them to go and wake up in the morning and have elk grazing nearby. It's taken for granted. And I would like to see the department take a bigger role in educating those recreationalists in the importance of the conservation of that, of the wildlife, but not just the wildlife, but the resources and the environment that they live in, so that everyone can continue to enjoy those wild spaces and that those wild spaces will have a value to the general public, and that the general public will see that value and want to help preserve it as well, even though they might not hold a fishing or hunting license.
Thanks, Jessica.
Jessica, tell us about how you see the role of commissioners in interacting with department employees and pushing objectives.
The commission advises, does it not? If an objective is to be pushed, then it should be an objective that I think has been brought to the commission with research backing it, scientific research, not just feelings and not just public opinion. I think that it is a collaboration between the commission and the department. And in appointing directors or those in charge of the department, that the commission takes a role in the best interest for the state of Arizona as a whole before it does any advising or pushing of any agendas.
Thank you. Is there anything like you would like to bring up to us right now?
No, sir, just appreciate the opportunity.
Well, and thank you once again for your work with the agency. Thank you. Anybody need a break? You don't want it? No? Sorry. You're gonna do the rule.